All right, I've got Larry Horbach and Jared Tebockhorst with us this month for our monthly update from the state of Iowa. And as many of you know, we've had a interesting month of storms, or a land hurricane, or whatever you want to call it. I call it a land hurricane in Iowa, and it's been an unbelievable event. We've had many updates coming from the home office on the number of claims we've had and the total amount of losses. And as we stand today, there's roughly 34,000 properties that have been impacted from this storm that came across the state. We're going to go well over $200 million in losses. Great news is our reinsurance has kicked in, so we are not spending Farm Bureau money anymore. We're into the reinsurer's money, and not that we would treat a client any differently either way, but it's just good to know financially as a company we're in a great place during this event. As you know, there are some other carriers out there in the same issues right now with the claims throughout central and eastern Iowa, and I'm very proud to say how well our claims staff have handled this process. Our Farm Bureau adjusters, our home office staff that have taken the claims, our BCDs with Sarah Clausen and Chris Rowe, and how well they've done to respond to this. But with anything that you're going to get this large, you're going to bust at the seams and you're going to learn from the processes. So what I've asked, and I've asked two agents, obviously, with Larry and Jared here to join me today to discuss some of those things. Corporately, we have a lot of ways we can improve, and I think we're going to see a ton of improvement as we come out of this, as we adjust our processes to help communicate better with the field and with the agents as claims happen, but also how do we handle big events like this. Today's going to be about offices. How does it happen out in your agent offices? How does it happen in your business, and how can we improve on that? So I've asked these two to join me today and discuss their experience they've had with this. And then obviously we're going to ask a few questions on some things that they would change in their businesses. So you all, as a state agency force, how can you adjust or plan for these as we move forward? So Larry, I'm going to start with you and Tama. I know you're a big part of this. You have an ag book out there as well. Can you roughly tell me how many claims you've had and the call volume you've been having with this claim loss?
Yeah, I've got basically 177 claims on the books right now. So a lot of them.
It is a lot of them. What are you seeing? Has it been more in the agricultural world? Are you seeing stuff from the in-town claims losses? Where are you seeing a lot of your volume?
It's both, to be honest with you. My bigger losses are out in the ag part of it, but Tama Toledo got hit very hard.
It did,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm working both sides of
volume. How have you and your staff handled that volume? I mean, what have you done to adjust to that volume, the amount of people calling in? Do you have any processes you've had in place for this?
You know, basically Tanya and we're taking care of everything, just the two of us, but we have made ourselves available 24/7. I mean, it doesn't matter. I got a phone call right off the bat, would have been 2 days after the storm at 3:04 a.m., you know, and was answering it. So we're just making ourselves available. We're going out, meeting people, taking them meals, you know, and just getting involved in the process, getting them through this devastation.
So now that you have that amount of claims, where are you at with that process? Like, how many of your clients have been touched by Farm Bureau since this happened?
I would guess 40 to 50% of them are probably getting close to. I've been delivering checks. I can tell you that. Our adjusters and our home office have been incredible with service out there. So I'm very impressed with Farm Bureau. I can tell you they're top notch. Definitely top notch.
Good. Okay. Jared, I'm going to talk to you quick. How many claims have you had? How many clients have had a claim with you guys?
I wish I had a number. I think it's upward close to 400 on this storm. I think I had another 50 to 75 on the July 11th storm. So we're working around probably 450. I don't know.
Wow.
So
hopefully I was in your office. Yeah, I was in your office yesterday, or excuse me, last week. And I did get a chance to see you and Billy Bob and talking you through a little bit of the process. And what's amazing about your office is how many accounts did you write in August?
I think we had 7 or 8. I don't know. So,
which at this point is not important, but it's just unbelievable. I almost fell over when I walked in there. You know, just when you guys had said, "Hey, we're going to write 7 or 8 accounts for the month," which is unbelievable just with the entire circumstances that are out there. But how have you two handled the claims? You know, being in Fairfax last week, just seeing like the devastation. It just looks like someone took a hedge trimmer to the town. How have you two handled the claims volume that's come in?
Kind of like Larry said, we've been pretty much available every day. I've worked every day since the 10th. I haven't taken a break. I take a break here and there to go have supper with my family, and we went boating for a couple hours. That's about, otherwise I've been in my office every single hour. I've been in front of a computer, just answering questions and just trying to get people to, you know, give them some answers. Everyone's got a lot of questions. We don't necessarily always have the answer, but we got to be a voice for them. We just got to take their calls and calm them down and make them understand the process that we're going through, and they just want somebody to talk to. And I think that's, you know, we just have to go, you know, it's going to be a couple more weeks, maybe a couple more months. It is what it is. We'll get through it. But it's just kind of been a thing where they want to talk to us. They have questions about, you know, lots of questions about coverages. Well, how's this going to go down? When are we going to get our checks? Is the checks going to be enough? You know, everything else is going down. So it's just kind of something to basically calm them down and just make sure that they know that we're here, and we're in the end we're going to get to where they want to be. Just work with us and trust us that we'll get you there. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week, but it's going to, you know, the end result is to get them back to where they were before as best we can in a timely fashion. So that's kind of our passion on it. And it's going to be, you know, in the meantime, we just got to do everything we can to make sure that they understand that process, and they do a little bit of work on their end, working with contractors and getting us estimates and appraisals and everything else that we need from them on their end. And it's just the whole thing. So it's just kind of a new experience for us. Before this claim, I've been to every single property loss I've ever had. You have a property loss, I'll be there in an hour. And I've been to every single one. I haven't even been to 90% of them on this one. And that's what drives me the most. It makes me the most sad because I can't be there for them and actually help them out or see what damage they have. When people say, I got storm damage. Are you missing 5 pieces of siding, or are you missing your entire roof? You know, did you lose everything you own, or did you lose your place set out back? I got storm damage is a little bit different these days, I guess. So. Right.
So tell me, going into this, or now that you're in the middle of this claim, you guys lost power, internet, you lost everything, phone lines, like it was kind of chaos for you. I think you have VoIP, is that your voice over IP? Is that correct?
Yep.
Which played out big time for you. Tell me how that worked for you.
So Monday afternoon, we came back to the office, and we're just kind of walking around like, what do we do? We didn't have a game plan. We weren't ready for this at all. By Monday at 6 o'clock, we packed up our computers out of our office, packed up our phone systems, and we had a plan Tuesday morning to set up shop in Iowa City, 30 minutes away, where I could get in an area that had internet, phone connection, you know, cell phone connection, everything else. Basically get out of here where people were, because I was at my office and I had 25 people stop by in the first 30 minutes I was here. People lined up waiting to get in the door just to talk to us. And so we weren't going to get anything done here, even without power. So basically we went down to Iowa City, set up as best we could down there, and had kind of a mobile command center where we could take communication, we could file claims, we could take notes, we had access to everything. And that's kind of what saved the day for us, because we filed almost every claim ourselves. Of all those claims, you know, I would say 5 to 10% of them called the claim number, because the claim number was it was bogged down and everything else. So we started making spreadsheets, started taking notes, started making names, home, auto, what kind of losses they had, and try to get reports into our storm team in mass, so somebody could, you know, input those on the back end instead of either of us or our clients waiting on hold for 30 minutes. And it just, you know, just a lot of claims came in really fast. So that was the best process for us. What I didn't do is prioritize the claims, which looking back, I should have made. I had a list of 15 or 20 people that we knew that were really, really bad. 100 of our claims shouldn't even got turned in for the first week, period. I should have calmed them down, set them to the side, and said, we'll get your garage door fixed, we'll get your pieces of siding back on, but this is not a priority, period, right now. Those things plugged our system up, and those things, we had people that were getting you know, adjusters out. They had minimal damage before. I had clients that had huge damage, you know. So I think in a storm like that, you need to prioritize how bad everything is, and not that people are as important as each other, but also it is very important to keep our adjusters going to the front line, to the right places right away, instead of coming to our neighborhood. And our Fairfax neighborhood did pretty well. We lost some garage doors, we lost some fascia, lost some soffit, those are minor. It's nothing compared to what happened in downtown Cedar Rapids or out in Benton County to my farmers. So those claims shouldn't even been turned in for a week, maybe 2 weeks, you know?
Right.
So
That's two good piece of advice there for the other agents of Iowa. Prioritizing the losses anytime you have a massive loss like this, number one. And number two, the voice over IP allowed you to take your business and transport it because of how your phone systems are set up. So I would say coming out of this, those are two things that I can think of that I made big differences for those of you that have voice over IP right now. And for those out there, I would consider that highly as you move forward as an option for your business. Larry, how about you? What adjustments did you make or would you have made after going through this? Now you've gotten through it once. Is there anything you would do differently since going through this process?
I would probably bring on another 1 or 2 people, to be honest with you, because it's a heck of a load for 2 people to take care of all those phone calls, all the walk-ins, and to go out and be with the individuals and talk about their loss. You know, I would definitely hire more staff. That would be huge. I don't feel I had enough staff on board at the time. Could have never planned for this. I'd have never guessed anything like this would have happened. So I would have, in my backup plan, I would make sure that I have availability to others. And actually, I did have my wife come in, and she sat in the office and was taking phone calls while I was out and about with the clients, taking a look at their losses and stuff. So number one, I would make sure I have a backup plan and that I would have enough people to take care of a catastrophe like this one.
That's a good call right there.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. I wish I would have had 2 or 3 people sitting in Iowa City with my sales associate, and I would have been in the field. I was 30 miles away and couldn't help or see anything, and somebody else could have took those phone calls and submitted claims like I was doing. I could have been out running around the neighborhood, running out to people's places and being with them and lending a helping hand for a half hour or an hour or whatever. But I regret I was sitting down there for 60 hours, 60 hours logging claims when I could have had anybody doing that, to be honest. So.
Very good. That's good feedback right there. And we as a company have hired a lot of temp employees, like what you're talking about here. We have independent adjusters that are out there at this time working for us. We have roughly 300 adjusters on the ground, but we've also hired 20 to 30 temps in the claims office here in Des Moines. They're going to be issuing checks quicker. We're trying to get checks out in the hands of the clients as quick as possible. So I believe the last count's like roughly 7,000 checks a day that we're trying to get out the door to get out to our clients. So again, that's a great feedback and great advice for the agents going forward. And quite honestly, prior to this right now, I hadn't even thought about the temp side for the agents. So that's something we will bring up corporately on our disaster relief. We should have brought that to you as a company as some ideas to go forward there. So great idea.
Maybe lean out to somebody that's out of your agency. I could have asked somebody from an hour south of here, hey, can I borrow one of your SAs for a week? I'll pay, I'll double your pay or whatever. But they're already licensed, they're already trained, they're already familiar with our systems. If this happened in Western Iowa, I would leave and I would go over there and help them for a week or two because of what had just happened. So.
I agree, Jared.
Number one, so Jared, so there's going to be where we don't have coverage. I mean, I'm aware of a couple of scenarios where someone hasn't paid their bill or hasn't paid their membership and they don't have home insurance and had a loss, obviously. I have run into that. What this question more is on coverage. What is the coverage you've seen in this event that you feel like I should have looked deeper at this? Is there something that you feel like as you move forward, you're going to change how you advise your clients on their property policy?
The refrigerator coverage was a big issue with every single person. It's a pretty cheap coverage. I would say 98% of my people don't have it and they're not worried about it. Even the people that are talking about it don't want to add it. So I could say that initially I would say that, but that's not really what's important. Law of ordinance is probably just as important. Residential equipment breakdown for the surges. We had a lot of refrigerators. We had a lot of units that didn't work after the storm because the power was going on and off and surging. And hopefully we cover those on some of those stuff. But we put it on a lot of policies, but it's got to be a little more expensive. It's $48 a year. So that coverage and the law of ordinance ordinance is cheap. It's hardly anything. But if you got a 1940 house and now their panel box needs to be wired, or now they need updated with ice melt on the roof, or these small little things that are going to add up for these older things. We have tried to put it on the last couple of years, but that's something you don't think about when we live in a development that's 10 or 12 years old. Everything's up to code, everything's up to date, you know. But obviously that little small coverage, $7,500 coverage on there, I think it's like $4 a year. So it's not even an option anymore to put it on the coverage. And then the other one would be was it loss assessment? I think on a condo policy. Loss assessment, I think it's built in for $1,000. If you bump that to $5,000, again, it's $3 or $4, but it covers that when a condo association has a deductible of $75,000 and they divide it between 20 people. Some of these people don't got $4,000 or $5,000 to come up with their deductible. So those are two coverages that are pretty important on making sure somebody can even get their damage fixed, but also not coming back at the end of the storm and saying, oh, by the way, you know, we're not going to cover that $4,000 or $5,000 for the electrical panel, or we're not going to cover the ice melt on your roof that wasn't on there. And small little things that don't really matter. But as for the refrigerator, it's like, yeah, you're $200 worth of stuff. I'm sorry, but it's not really that big a deal. Now to a person who's got, you know, we put it on people. I'm like, hey, do you got deep freezes? Do you guys buy cows? I put them on. Those are the clients I have them on. People that got $4,000 or $5,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 worth of meat in there at all times. Those are the people you put it on. For the homeowner, with a fridge and a beer fridge in the garage, it's not that important. Personally, it's not going to make or break their life. Yeah, I understand your ketchup's, you know, not there anymore, but you'll get through it. Compared to some of the other coverages where it's like, you know, other structures, $17,000 vinyl fence. Oh, we don't really need coverage on that fence because usually a person goes through the ice and only hits a portion of it, or usually a tree falls and hits 2 sections of it. Those fences are gone. They might not even be in the yard anymore. Those fences are gone. We're probably seeing the Tama fences over here in Lynn County. So those expensive fences like that, small garden sheds, all that other structure stuff adds up when it comes to a big loss like this. So you really need to document, hey, I see that vinyl fence out there. It's probably $20,000 fence. You want coverage on that? If they don't, that's fine, but you need to make sure that you offer it to them, quote it with the thing, and make sure you document it if you don't have it, you know, that way, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not really worried about it. Everyone's worried about everything right now, and I promise that people will take us a little more serious. Larry, don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. You know, you covered it very well there, Jared. I mean, it's just all your points there are dead on. You know, the little things you don't really think about, but now you really need to sit down with these people and let them know, hey, do you want the refrigerator? Do you want the freezer coverage? You know, the fence and the ordinance and all that kind of stuff. I agree. It's the little things like that that a person can overlook, you know, but in a time like we're in right now, they're finding all that little stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
and if you're going to write a policy and it's $1,400 a year compared to $1,420 a year, you're not going to lose that client. You can make that sale. It's not a sales thing at all. It's just a factor of don't be so competitive on the when you're quoting business that you need to drop off every single little thing. You know, you quote it and you don't even ask them if they want it or not. You just put it on there, and that's part of the quote. You insure people for what the worst, and that way when the worst thing does happen, you're the one that, oh, we had this coverage on there. It was optional, but I didn't even ask you. I just put it on there. You know.
Absolutely, it can make you a hero in a hurry.
So Larry, how do you schedule your super checks currently? What have you done?
I normally try and schedule them anywhere from 1 year to 18 months, somewhere in that range. I think it's very important that you meet with people because it's amazing how many times they forget to call you when they do something. You know, they might add a small shed here, they might add something else, you know, out on their farmstead or around the house, and they fail to tell you. So I feel it's very important that we meet with these people, you know, once a year or at least once every 18 months, just to touch base with them, see what's new, and see if there's any changes out there that we need to be made aware of, so we've got them properly covered.
So do you use the ACU, or are you making the phone calls out of your office?
I make the phone calls out of my office is what I do.
Very good.
And I probably should use the ACU. I just haven't before, but I I really need to do that. I'd like to try it because I'm sure it's a great system that we've got here at Farm Bureau.
Yeah, I think the offer is the most important thing, and capacity of every office is different. I can tell you the ACU for us in this event stepped up big time. The ACU had made a lot of phone calls for us to clients in Lynn County, especially. All of our clients let them know, here's where you're at, your claim is filed, or no, it is not filed, to check with them, do you have a claim? And the ACU did an amazing job because they can get through so many names so quickly. So yeah, you know, the important thing is a super check, you know, that's the result you want. So if your office has the capacity to make that happen, great. If it gets to the point where you're like, you know, we can't handle that capacity as your business gets so large, the ACU is a great option for you. So
Sure.
I appreciate that. Jared, how about you? How have you scheduled in the past?
We call everybody about a month or two before the renewal and offer them. We try to offer every single person a renewal every year. And like I said, we try to at least make it mandatory to meet every 2 or 3 years, not to let things slip by or whatever. But times are fast. People are hard to, you know, people are hard to pin down. People don't prioritize it very much. And we've got some people that we try to document on our end, offer them a super check, you know, which is, they feel good about it. They're glad we called, and they might make little changes, or they might ask us to go over it on the phone with them real quick. But something that we're going to do mandatory. It's like with every 2 years, either every year or every 2 years, it's mandatory that you meet with me, or else I'm going to come to your house and meet with you for 10 minutes. It's just got to be something I don't see when farmers add buildings. I don't see when people put garden sheds in or pools in or new decks. And I don't see that unless I'm out in the field. So it's kind of one of those things. I'm going to try to make it more, plus it's personable too. It's like, I'm passionate about what we do. I'm proud to be a Farm Bureau agent. So on your end, I want you to be proud to be with me, and I want to be over and beyond. I don't want to be just an average insurance guy. So I want to be more next level, and that's making sure that you make them make it a priority for you. Whereas in the past, oh, I'm not really worried about it. Everything's the same as last year. You know, well, you've had, you know, 5 years ago, you had 2 kids. You got a wife that's going back to college now. She's going back to college to get her master's. There's a lot that's changed in your life. You're just not prioritizing meeting with me and making it a, you know, priority for you. And that's kind of something I need to make our clients understand, that this is very important to us. What we do is very important. And I think, sad to say, but I think they will take us extremely more important here.
Right. Last question for both of you. So every time there's adversity, there's an opportunity, you know, and I think this is obviously some adversity. So Larry, what opportunity do you see coming out of this event for you and your business?
Well, number one, with what I've seen Farm Bureau do in these last 3 weeks is so impressive compared to the other companies that are in my area. I've been told that many times already, that some of them are just now seeing adjusters, and we're out there taking checks to the clients for their losses. So word of mouth is big. I'm in a small community right here, and word of mouth is huge. And I've had 3 or 4 individuals in here just in the last 3-4 days that have said that I've heard nothing but great things about Farm Bureau. And that makes me feel good. It really does. But you know what? We've earned that in the last 3 weeks. And people out there in our community, they know it. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to taking care of as many of those people as I can once their damages get fixed by their other company. And so I think it's going to be a great opportunity. We've got a ways to go, you know, as far as getting everybody back in place. But when people are back and settled down a little bit, I think Farm Bureau is going to shine out of this deal. I really do.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry. How about you, Jared? Anything to add to that?
Pretty much 100% agree. We've been, all 5 of my neighbors, only one of my 5 neighbors has had an adjuster out there. And me and Billy Bob got about 60 people wrote down a piece of paper that have left us or that have called us, and people that we know that they're not going to get quotes. They're just going to come to us when it's all said and done. They just said the way that they've seen the way we do business, they've seen how hard we've been working and what we've been doing. And they've seen my truck come home at 9 o'clock at night every night and leave at 6:30 in the morning. And they just said, you know, in Farm Bureau, like, I've never been more proud to be with Farm Bureau. So that's something to take home, because we are taking care of every single person we possibly can, and that I sleep pretty good at night. So all things pending. Could be the couple beers before bed, but most off I sleep pretty good at night, because I know that our company is taking care of people. We just can't, as long as we get the volume down. As soon as we get the volume down over this next couple of weeks, everything's gonna be great. But you know, couldn't be more proud to be with our company.
Well, very good. I'm very proud of both of you. You guys have done a hell of a job with this event, and you and others, right? The two of you I asked to come today and represent the agency force. And again, for all you, the staff out there and agents out there, I hope you had a chance to watch this. There's a lot of great takeaways from coverages, the processes, to super checks, to opportunities coming out of events like this. So, but again, the two of you have done a great job, an excellent job handling this adversity as we've had it go forward. So to both of you, thank you. To the state of Iowa, thanks for all you've done. You have made this place special. To our claims staff, to all the Iowa staff that's been out there making Farm Bureau what Farm Bureau is, thank you, because the hours and time that's been put into this has been unbelievable. But again, thank you to everybody. Have a great day, and have a great September.